IPPS-A leads the way. IPPS-A. One system, personnel, and pay. IPPS-A.
What's going on, IPPS-A Nation? Thank you for joining our podcast, where we give you updates on what's going on with the program. I am Sergeant Major Paul J. Smith, IPPS-A's Senior Enlisted Advisor. So I want to tell you how happy I am about today's segment. Since I first listened to the last All NCO podcast, I've been chomping at the bit for the opportunity to host one of these as the new Senior Enlisted Advisor. So today, I'm joined by resident expert on training development, Master Sergeant David Minder, the all-knowing lead on MilPay, Master Sergeant Robert Simmons, and our most senior NCO on the program, Master Sergeant Anre Hall, three of the many NCOs that are getting after it on the team. Welcome, my brothers.
I appreciate it, Sergeant Major.
Thanks for having me, Sergeant Major.
Thanks, Sergeant Major.
All right, so we're obviously changing things up a bit today by providing you with an all NCO episode, and we really want to focus on our attention on everyday soldiers. I cannot stress this enough, right? IPPS-A is your system. It is not only empowering soldiers to have more control in every aspect of their career, but it is giving NCOs more tools to enable them to be stronger leaders. So we've had a lot going on since our last episode. So as a brief recap, we have just recently hit the 1-year anniversary. Fellows, let's give it up for that 1-year mark, right?
Woo!
Yeah,
Woo!
right. Yeah. All right, so we've had a slew of system updates, and we're now in full swing with the personal asset inventory that kicked off on 1 February, where we are focused on 100% accountability of the Army, but also looking at things like MILCOM code, assignment end dates, multi-slotting positions, and template billets. I cannot stress enough the importance of this PAI as it impacts soldier promotions, professional mobility, retention, and simply aligning soldiers in the right mission. So there's a lot going on, and I think we are seeing how the Army is leveraging IPPS-A in a lot of ways to meet its priorities. Regarding soldiers in the field using IPPS-A, I would like to bring in Master Minder to talk about reinforcement training for NCOs. Master Minder, with our enlisted members in mind, what sort of items are we prioritizing right now?
Sure, Sergeant Major. Right now, we are trying to train the enlisted members on their craft. With the upcoming PAI, I want to afford everybody the opportunity to know the training that is already present on S1Net and what we have planned over the next month. We have hosted multiple sessions on the HRC G1 S1 Touchpoint Teams channel on Microsoft Teams. HRC has also conducted sessions between my team and HRC. We will continue to host a few sessions PAI related over the next month. Concurrently to these trainings on the IPPS-A Go Live Cutover Support Teams channel, they are also hosting trainings related to PAI tasks on Wednesdays from 0900 to 1100 Eastern Time and from 1800 to 2000 Eastern Standard Time.
All right, awesome. So thanks for that. Now, I want to ask you this question about soldiers, but I'd be leaving out a lot of hardworking civilians and contractors busting their butts every day. So from your current foxhole, what are the types of things you have seen when interacting with IPPS-A users as a whole, and what should everyone know to better support soldiers when it comes to IPPS-A?
So, Major, I want to say there's a lot of things that could potentially not be known, but I don't know if it's due to a lack of training or a lack of knowledge. But I will say that all we have to do as NCOs, is train the force. Let the soldiers know where the information is. We have manuals, job aids, and other training products that we have created. These items are tested and tried prior to release and do fully depict the actual system and the proper steps. I know a common issue is that the system doesn't always work perfectly, and that is sometimes correct. We do have code and data errors, but that is all new systems. I ask that if you encounter one of these errors, you bring it to our attention. The earlier that this is brought to our attention, it's the earlier we can fix it. Submit either a CRM ticket or on any of the Teams channels that we monitor.
Hey, all good points. Thanks, Master Minder. So I'd be remiss if I did not stress the importance of low density MOS training, especially when it comes to our HR professionals with IPPS-A now. Senior leaders should be looking at creative ways of educating the masses with the biggest HR transformation the Army has ever seen. You hear me say that a lot, right? Because that is important to know. Knowing that we essentially clean the slate with subject matter experts, and we are all relearning our weapon system right now. So we need every every leader to support the HR community in their training needs. While amazing leaders like Master Sergeant Minder are here to support you in developing your respective training packages, we ask that all HR professionals take the time to keep up with the many training resources like Master Sergeant Minder mentioned, the manuals, the aids, the replays, and the UPKs. All right, Master Minder. So on a previous podcast, you mentioned how using the operational training environment or the OTE can be a good opportunity to get comfortable with the system. Are we seeing a lot of people take advantage of that testing environment to learn certain HR processes?
Our major, actually, we don't. There's a lot of soldiers that don't even know these sites exist. So I find myself, reaching out to soldiers and letting them know, hey, we have 2 test environments. You got OTE Alpha and Bravo. These websites can be found on the IPPS-A resources page. They are CAC enabled and their accesses mirror that of inside of the IPPS-A's production site. Also below the links on the IPPS-A resources page are the schedules to when these training sites will be down. Generally, there's always one up, but most of the time we can find 2 up at one time.
Yeah, so I was a little worried you were going to say that, right? Because most of my interactions with the field kind of had the same flavor, right? That they didn't know about it or they weren't using it. And, this is our weapon system, right? While going to the range costs money, getting into OTE and playing around is free. Get in there, test and stress the system, practice your craft, and get better at being AG professionals. We all owe it to our customer, and that's the soldiers on the ground. So since we've been focusing on enlisted members here, I want to stress that IPPS-A is a big part of the Army's people first strategy and talent management efforts. That means focusing on career advancement. Master Sergeant Hall, can you give us an idea of how we're using IPPS-A to enhance the promotion process?
Yeah, thank you again, Sergeant Major. So when I hear you mention the Army's people first strategy as it relates to career advancement, I'm reminded of a conversation that I had with the policy proponent for enlisted promotions and demotions. Right. So prior to go live, the promotion team was actively involved in the revision of AR 600-8-19. And the topic of discussion happened to be the Legacy Triple Alpha 117 Unit Enlistment Advancement Report. This required the report to be generated prior to the 5th working day of the month prior to the promotion month within a MilPay, in which commanders recorded either approve or deny for waiver recommendations. So stay with me for a second. When the commander approved a promotion for waivers, the promotion always occurred the first of the following month. Why? Why are we disadvantaging our decentralized population? If a soldier meets the time and service, time and grade waiver requirement, and the commander deems a soldier deserving for a promotion, why do they need to wait to the following month? Why can't they be promoted the date that they were fully eligible for the waiver? Right? So the legacy system could not handle that, meaning that prior to IPPS-A, in certain scenarios and processes, the system was driving regulatory guidance, and that's bad business. Right? So I echoed, IPPS-A can handle this. So now, when a decentralized soldier is eligible for promotion with waiver, and the commander deems them deserving for promotion, they can promote on the date that they become eligible. Like that's major for our decentralized population. So leaders can better manage individual talents of the total force based on their knowledge, skills, and behavior.
So that's awesome, right? Because we're looking at how we can utilize our skill set and updating IPPS-A to reflect what we want the Army to do, as opposed to having to make regulation changes because of the restrictions or the lack of capability for the system to make those changes. So that's great. So, and we've always talked about how IPPS-A means transparency when it comes to promotions. What does that look like now outside of what you already mentioned?
So speaking of transparency, the system allows the S1 or HR pros to validate soldiers' eligibility simultaneously while commanders confirm who in their formation deserves a promotion. The system also allows our semi-centralized population to validate their PPW as soon as the S1 updates their record. So it comes around full circle from the commander to the S1 to the soldier. Transparency is apparent. In addition to the transparency piece is auditability. Speaking from a promotion standpoint, once a soldier's record is updated, each section in profile management provides the last updated timestamp with IMPL ID, meaning the timestamp that it was done and created and the user that did it. If this process was fed through an inbound file, let's say DTMS, for example, then it also states that on that record, this file, this weapon system came from DTMS on this date.
Man, this IPPS-A thing's pretty good deal, huh? All right. So now how has IPPS-A improved enlisted accessions now?
So our top priority for enlisted accessions is ensuring that records for reserve component soldiers go through the proper process to be released from the reserve prior to going on active duty. We are implementing new code that will perform checks prior to processing any errors file into the system.
All right, great, Master Anre Hall. I appreciate it. So I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to take this opportunity to talk about something really important. Let's talk about pay. I know we have got a lot of things in the works for this year, but I want to get a good idea of what we can look forward to regarding pay prioritizations. Master Sergeant Simmons, what do you have for us?
Hey, thanks for having me on Sergeant Major. So, as always important with pay, we really have been looking at timeliness and accuracy of transactions that go from the personnel system to the pay system, because we all know that personnel actions drive pay. So with that being said, though, there's always software that needs to be updated, improved, and that's really what we've been working on this year, is just ensuring that we lay a good foundation for future pay implementations.
Great. So are these updates the team is prioritizing based on any particular feedback from the field?
Sure. I think the field does an outstanding job of providing feedback, and especially ensuring that we're receptive to their feedback when it comes to improving the system. So whether it's town halls or social media, CRM, our team likes to be attentive to what the customers are experiencing so we can improve their user experience.
Right on. So what are some of our pay prioritizations for 2024, and what will these mean for the everyday soldier?
I think one of the other big things that we look at is ensuring that we have a all compo solution, right? So 3 compo solution, we ensure whether a soldier is guard, reserve, whether they're regular army, that we're able to give them a product that they can see and it can be interchangeable within the system on the front end, and then we can do all of the cool stuff on the back end. So that's one of our prioritizations, is to ensuring that we have a all compo solution.
Yeah, and that's obviously a big deal and a lot of heavy lifting, right? Because, not all compos are created equal when it comes to pay and all that. So what's the latest news or status on what is going on in MilPay, and what are their current efforts?
So when you look at special pay, incentive pay, and absences, those are some of the bigger modules that we've been working on to ensure that we get those solutions. Recently, we just integrated all of the absence management into what we call a pay page now, where the special and incentive page used to lie. So that integration goes along with ensuring that we have a 3-to-1 solution. I know that we've had some issues with the migration. However, the biggest thing is we are always improving the system. And so that migration actually allows us to do a lot of future things better suited to what the customers are asking for in these CRM tickets and in ALM, and also on social media.
Yeah, big ships take a long time to turn, and sometimes we've run into issues, but we have a really good team here that does their best to try to catch those as quick as possible and fix those. So IPPS-A Nation, we need your input to make MilPay successful. Please reach out if you have any issues, concerns, and or recommendations on how we can succeed in the implementation of MilPay in IPPS-A. All right, before I wrap things up on this podcast, do you all have anything else for us?
Sure, Sergeant Major. I wanted to reiterate a few points. That's NCO involvement in training, and then command importance on allowing low density training.
Yeah, I'll add a note too, Sergeant Major. So I understand that several leaders in the field are filling the learning gap. Previously, you had years of knowledge with the legacy systems, and now you may feel that as an NCOIC, you are learning alongside your soldiers, right? Stay in the fight. There are several forums out there that are beneficial. For example, we have the promotion town hall hosted by HRC every Friday. Please attend, right? Another little tidbit, social media is great. I get it. I too know when the new shoes are released, when the album's dropped. But some of these forums are not providing accurate information, right? So I ask you as leaders, stop hitting the easy button on everything, right? Go in those systems, see what you can and can't do, read those, listen to those UPKs, go to these forums that are beneficial.
And of course, I would like to add something as well, Sergeant Major. So just remember that personnel actions drive pay, and we've tried to provide the soldiers with the ability to have control over their records. So ensure that you're getting in the training manuals and stay in the fight.
Hey, thanks for that, fellas. It's been a great podcast. Before we go, I wanted to take this time to personally thank an extremely valuable member of the team. Most of you probably have no idea that Master Sergeant Anre Hall will be hanging his boots up after over 20 years of service, and I think I'd be doing the entire Army an injustice if I did not do a couple things right now. So first, Anre, I want to personally thank you for what you have done for not only preparation, fielding, and stability of IPPS-A, but what you've done for the United States Army as a whole. And I wanted to let you know that I'm proud to call you my brother, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I wanted to give you the floor to impart a little wisdom, guidance, or any other final remarks you have.
You got me choking up a little bit, brother. I didn't know you were going to do all this at the end. It's been my pleasure to serve in this position on the IPPS-A program. I am a firm believer that we are the best Army in the world. What I will like to leave at the table is NCOs, you do have a seat at the table, right? More work needs to be done. I cannot stress, take advantage of every opportunity that arises. I myself have not had those dream locations or assignments, but I have taken advantage of what those locations have provided, right? To the field, if you're physically or mentally able to attend these schools, to attend these forums, don't do things for the badge, don't do things for the promotion points, do it for the knowledge, right? Adapt to a changing environment.
I appreciate that. So thanks again, Master Sergeant Minder and Master Sergeant Simmons, for today's show, and to Master Sergeant Hall for all the blood, sweat, and tears you've expended over the last 2 decades. As a reminder, the IPPS-A team is here to support soldiers in their IPPS-A journey. I want to plug CRM. IPPS-A is a soldier system, and we need the input from the field to make IPPS-A better. We need leaders to make sure every soldier is trained on how to fully use it. All right, that is it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, keep driving the change we need in our Army.
Soldier, right job, right on time.
24/7, 365.